Okay, hello. Yeah, I feel like I have my microphone up here because why not? So I have been noticing how I seem to pop up in people's lives during change and transition. Yeah, woohoo. If you want to look at the whole like light working kind of stuff, then I'm anchoring in new energy. I'm at the precipice of change and transition. My human design, it's all about magnetizing people in who are looking for change and transformation. That's why I keep on popping up in people's lives as a kind of like guided mentor because, I've gone through some crazy shit. Yay. Um, and I'm talking to a friend at the moment as she is going through stopping alcohol. First of all, like accepting she's an alcoholic, then talking about it. For a long time, I had my moments where I didn't really want to be around her for myself, but also for her. We've kind of like had this friendship that's gone in waves where I've disappeared because I needed to go and focus on my life, and then it was a bit intense with a lot of drinking and couldn't really connect past a certain point. But I think that's general that's generalness with alcohol, right? And I've been around quite a lot of alcoholics over my life. An ex who was abused by his family in a way. He became an alcoholic, and friends, the general kind of like tone of work, um, yeah, alcohol, not a friend. Arabic, the jinn, the dark spirit, spirits, spirits. Want to talk about like entities and shit? Spirits. You don't need that shit. Alcohol is spiky. You feel it in your blood. Spiky. You feel it in your skin. Spiky. And so it cracks through the aura and allows things to move through aura. Like low level entities, desire, darkness, cycles, repeating cycles, so you stay stuck in this little prison thing. This cell, this spirit cell of spirits. Wine. Oh, wine, 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 whinge, wine, 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 wine. Yeah, you want to go with spirits, or you go with spirits? Want wine, so you want a wine. Kind of says it on the tin. Beer. 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 Kind of incoherent with beer. This is what I've noticed a lot in the Netherlands, and also when you think about it in the UK as well. That's kind of beer sounds, right? I just don't get it. Um, but when you're kind of dealing with these, like the addiction underneath all of these actions, you take moments. And my friend is going through the phase that I went through when I was smoking, which is hardcore smoking, hardcore drinking. Then you stop, And then you go clean for a while, cold turkey, clean, you go through the shakes, you go through everything, you go through that little gremlin of like, like, fuck, is this everything that's inside of me that's been suppressed by all of this? Or I've met someone I was not so sure about. When I quit smoking, I oh, this is heavy still, but hang on, give me a second. Hey, I just got like 5 kilos of clay in here. So I literally walked around Amsterdam with my thumbs in these little parts of my backpack being like 7 hours. And then I finally found a friend in like a squat bar, punk bar, and then got absolutely shit-faced drunk. But within that drunkenness, the inhibition suppressor, the thing that was like keeping all the inhibitions of the anger and the rage down, popped open. And all of that energy that just was being stopped for such a long time finally was allowed to be released. So I was a little monster. I was like, "Rah!" And you know what? After that moment, I let it all out. Done. And it was okay. It was in a safe space. It was with people that just could not give a flying fuck. I was with 2 safe friends who'd also gone through their own, like, non-judgmental everything and are actually like, yeah, you're doing really fucking well, bud. Like, congratulations. So I went through that phase. I walked it off and I went clean and I stopped smoking. Then I started smoking again. And instead of being this like, la la la, I had this like, kind of thing. And I was like, oh no, that's what smoking does. And this was just tobacco. And if you look at the origins of tobacco, it's a grounding plant. So if you're like naturally quite high, like, oh la la la, and then you take it makes sense why this like brings you down. Like the energetics of smoking, it kind of like brings you down. And then I noticed that I dropped into a lower level, like a lower reality, a lower realm, quantum choice, making this choice in the daily moment. Do I choose this path or do I choose this path? Like every moment is a choice and that choice is a completely different timeline. So today I'm choosing the let's be vulnerable and step into my full power through vulnerability timeline. I'm being authentic with my microphone on my glasses because why the fuck not? And seeing this choice is where my friend is right now. So she's seen like drinking alcohol closes her up. And I was like, yeah, you look like a little closed huddled pigeon. You know, like, like these little pigeons instead of this like really, really bold woman. And when I went to pick her up a few weeks ago to go for a walk, she really looked like a fucking royal princess celebrity. She looks a bit like Margot Robbie too. So it's really like, you are so stunning, like stand in your full power. And then yesterday when she was drinking, she was like a little huddled pigeon. It's like princess to pigeon. Why? Why do this to yourself? Stay in the princess energy, you know? Like this this is kind of where I see it or how I recognize her. And I only want to be around princesses. I'm done with pigeons. Sorry, like they they have their thing, but like just as you see them, like they've got their legs caught with like string, and you just can't go saving all of them. Just let's hang out with princesses. There you go. Um, or queens, or goddesses, or like when you're in your like power energy. Um, and she's even noticing herself, like, oh, the comparison. Self comparison is great. When you compare it with like two parts of yourself to make the choice so that you can see, that's when it's good. Comparisons to others in other paths, not great. But also knowing how you used to be and the shame of where life has helped you, well, helped you to fall, but like hidden from life in a way. Hmm. Life events have shocked in such a way that the response is to hide, and then the hiding and the holes that you've gone to hide in create this shell of the former self, and that comparison between the two is so shocking that the shame that is felt and the embarrassment of like how you used to be, that's not necessarily helpful if you're going to hold on to it for such a long time. But if you're going to see it and it's going to motivate you, that's a great place to be in. um yeah, so the comparison of being clean and being shiny and golden and in your princess energy, queen, goddess, blah blah blah, king, prince, like when you're in your like solid shine energy, great. When you start taking again or using again or drinking, smoking, whatever, and you see that you turn into this pigeon and like drop down into a few like lower levels, then you notice that you want to get back to the princess level because it feels good. And you need to go through that process. So people who may like relapse is part of the process. Like doing it safely, yeah. I don't want to be like irresponsible here, but especially considering I've got a microphone here and I've got a headband on, and like people could use this as justification and then like die la la la. I'm not saying that, but for the low grade, there's like low grade addiction and there's low grade healing. I mean, I'm talking about small levels of things in the great scheme of things. Like if you're looking at Euphoria, then in Rue's character, I'm not talking about this kind of stuff. This is like that's just hardcore going in for the kill kind of thing. Whereas what I'm talking about is something that's low level. It's annoying enough, it's damaging enough to one's life, but the person has an incredibly strong sense of will and they're very aware and they want to take matters into their own hands and their life into their own hands again. And they can do it. And I've always been around very strong addicts in a way. Like, a friend is like, yeah, I'm trying kratom. Like, I'm not so. It's kind of being used daily, but she wasn't worried about stopping. And if she's not worried about stopping, then I'm not worried about stopping. It's also giving someone that level of trust and belief and encouragement in themselves also gives them the power, because it's like, oh shit, one person believes in me. One person believes in me, I can do it. And so my friend who's stopping alcohol, her brother and her mom are like, oh, relapsed. Oh my god, you're never gonna be able. But I'm like, no, dude, like this is the process. Be chill about it and like give it a few weeks and you'll be all right. Like, just trust yourself in this process. You need to go and see, like, you need to compare the two. You've seen how you were when you were constantly drinking. You've seen how you were when you were clean for like 7 weeks. And now you've seen how, like, 2 weeks of drinking again, what that does to you. And so now you've had like all three stages of like total loss, consciousness, and like, what do I want to do with my life? How do I want to be? Then you flip back into like, actually, no, the consciousness side was so much more interesting and fun and it's new and let's try this instead. Um, and that's what I want to say. Throughout all of this kind of information, sometimes you need to just take a step back into the old habit to be like, nah, I don't want this. And it's okay. Like, thanks, bye. I want to come into the light again and be like, hey, this is my life. La, la, la. So, yeah, that's this one today. Okay, speak to you soon. Lots of love. Bye.